But maybe, we've been all hearing about the 10-day transformation. It's what all the buzz is about. It's what we're so excited for. And maybe you could start by giving us your insight on why the 10-day transformation is so different and so special than everything else that's out there in the marketplace today. And maybe even go into some of the products that make up the 10-day transformation.
Oh, thank you. And really, I want to say thank you to all of you for taking time out of your lives to be here tonight. It's a precious thing, time. The 3 hours that you might be spending here are hopefully very important. I always tell people, if you give me an hour, I'll give you at least 10 years. You got to listen during the hour, though. But the 10-day transformation is really, it's part of an evolution. We all remember the first telephone, right? Maybe you don't remember it. I do. How many people remember when you had to have one of those big round metal dials and go, and then it advanced to where they were push buttons, remember? And then we could walk away from the handset with it, and that was really fancy. And then, and then it evolved to where we could have it in our car, and then that was cool. I remember people putting the fake antennas on their cars so you'd think that they had a cell phone, remember that? But the reason I'm telling that is because, now we have this really amazing new technology. And if we look at this cell phone here that we have now, and we look at that old dial-up phone, then it's a big difference. And so I've always known how to take people, not always, but for a long time, I've known how to take people's bodies and their physique and their physiology and their metabolism, and to get it going the right way, to get it moving in the right direction, to change lives. I worked with some of the greatest healers in the history of the world, but for sure the United States. And I say that there was a Mount Rushmore of natural healers, the real heroes of natural healing, that the people I learned under, those would be the faces that were up on that mountain. Bernard Jensen and Ann Wigmore, and Paul Bragg and Dr. Christopher and others. And so I'm just the reporter, I went out and I interviewed all these amazing people. I heard their stories, and I want to share them with you. I want to share what they taught me with you. And so, we've always known, since I learned from them, what to do, but how do you do it in such a way that it's accessible to the whole world? How do you do it in such a way to where it is impactful for people? Not over 6 months. For most tradition, you think, well, if you lose 2 pounds a month, and over the course of a year of being disciplined, then you're going to be able to lose about 24 pounds. And if you look at the American Medical Association, they say that's as much weight as you could safely lose. And in today's world, who wants to wait a year? Who has the discipline, the time, or the focus to wait a year to lose that 24 pounds? And so we've always known how. I don't mean everybody, but I have. But the 10-day transformation is a concentration of knowledge, like the cell phone, you see. The old way of doing it over a year, that's dial-up, like that click, 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 click phone. And now with the 10-day transformation, it happens faster. And the reason why is because we have better grasp of knowledge. So here's what we know. Here's why this program, it's not a diet. What are the first 3 letters in diet? Diet. And I'll prove to you that every diet actually causes your body to start dying or to believe it's dying in order for you to lose weight. And you know that negative begets negative. If your body thinks it's dying and that's the reason you get something good, that's like telling a lie to get the result you want. It doesn't work. So here's the reason why ours is different. Ours is a program, and what are the first 3 letters of program? Pro, right? That means it's positive. And that's what's important. So here's the thing. Our bodies are conditioned by 40,000 years. 40,000 years of genetic memory. Okay? 40,000 years of genetic memory. And the way that genetic memory works, we don't control that. And what does our body remember? Well, our body remembers a time when we were not overfed. By the way, the United States is the most overfed and malnourished country in the history of the entire world. Overfed and malnourished don't seem to be right together, do they? Because usually the malnourished people were the underfed people. But for 40,000 years, we were underfed. We struggled to find food. We were hunters and gatherers and farmers and herders. And sometimes there was and sometimes there wasn't. There were droughts and there were famines and there were wars. There was winter. And there were times when people went hungry. And so what happened is, we all have heard of survival of the... Wrong. Survival of the fattest. Don't laugh. If I got hit by a spear right now, I'm dead. Nothing here but organs. You see, fat person gets hit by a spear, very good chance they're going to live. I go 2 weeks without food right now, I'm dead. Fat person goes 2 weeks without food right now, they survive. Survival of the fattest. Everybody here is here only because you had a fat relative today. Serious. At least an ancestor. So remember that when you have this protective layer of fat, this is a protective layer of fat that nature has bestowed upon you for your very survival. And then there's a famine, and you use it. That protective layer of fat goes down, and you become thin. Well, guess what we do today? We stop eating. And we become thin, and we're like, whoa, dieting works. Dying works. Your body thinks you're dying. It's burning off the protective layer of fat. It wants to do that. It needs to do that. It knows to do that. But what happens when you start eating again? It has to do what? It needs to put it back on. It has to. 40,000 years of genetic memory says it must. That's why every diet works for this long, and then you get bigger than you were when you started because you triggered this genetic memory. Does everybody get that? Are we along that far? So now do you know why the other diets can't work even though they do work? Because they're starving you. We turned that upside down. We turned it completely all the way 100,000% upside down. And the way we did that is by, instead of giving you and making you overfed and undernourished, we actually went the other way and we sort of underfeed you, but we overnourish you. You see, at the cellular level, down in here in the mitochondria, there's a little bookkeeper, a little accountant, and it says every single day, I need so much of this and so much of that and so much of this and so much of that in order to keep this cell healthy. And then we eat, and our body digests and separates stuff, and then some of the stuff goes into the cell, but not all the stuff the cell needs gets there. So the little accountant says, we got that, we got that, we got that, but we don't have that, that, or that. And it sends a signal to your brain and says, we need more nutrients. So what does your body associate the term nutrients with? Food. So you eat more food to get more nutrients. And all of a sudden, you had to eat this much food to get this many nutrients. That's what I call a really bad calorie antioxidant ratio. Like a car. That car is driving you in the really wrong direction. Now, what we do with the transformation is we have taken the world's most concentrated superfoods, the ones that have the nutrients that your cells are demanding every day. The little accountant in your cell is demanding the very things that we're giving it. And so every day, 3 times a day, 6 times a day, 7, 8 times a day, you're taking Purium superfoods. 2 or 3 times a day, you're taking approved flex foods. which means that 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day, you're actually putting awesome quality nutrients into your body. Does that sound like starving to you? Does it sound like you're dying? Now on day 1, 2, or 3, could it feel like you're dying? Oh yeah. It's so funny. It's so funny because here's what happens. How many of these stories, you all guys saw the stories of people standing up with smiles this big going, I lost 17, 25, 15, 13, and all you see is that big smile and the skinny waist, right? Let's go back. Let's go back to day 2. I'm gonna die. I can't do this. Who the hell made me do this? I'm serious. And they call the person, they go, you told me this was amazing. It was easy. And they go, oh, that's right. You're on day 2, huh? Because it's really easy after to remember how awesome it was. But you know what made it worth it was the first 3 days of pain. If you didn't have those first 3 days of proving to yourself that you had the discipline, of proving to your body that you could do this, of actually making it through. 3 days isn't that long, but boy, it could sure seem like it. When you come out of the tunnel, what has happened is the memory of eating, that rhythm we get into, breakfast. Okay, how many people are single out there? Raise your hand. Now, how many people are in a relationship? Raise your hand. I guarantee you relationship people eat twice as much as us single people because we don't have to eat. There's nobody going, honey, it's time for breakfast. Are you hungry? I'm hungry. Because every time your spouse eats, you eat. And for some reason, in a relationship, you start putting meals on the calendar. It's like, we gotta eat. You know, when you're single, you're like, I don't gotta eat, you know. But seriously, if someone's going, honey, are you hungry? I'm like, sure, I'm hungry. You know? So that's the thing, is that food is more of a social thing. It's far more of an obligation, more of a rhythm, more of a custom and a tradition than a need. Because at the transformation, what you're going to find is we're giving you what you need. Totally giving you what you need. And after a few days, you'll find we're actually giving you what you want. You don't realize it until you wake up one day and you're like, you know, this is weird. Like, there's something funny. Maybe I should go back to bed because I don't feel the same. Like, well, I got all this energy and I feel sort of optimistic, and I love the way my waist is looking, and I sort of want to go to work and have everybody compliment me again today. You know, but it's different. It really is. So what's going to happen? To make a short story long here, the reason we're different is because we're going to never let your body think that it's starving after the 3rd day. Okay? After the 3rd day, your body is absolutely sure that you're not starving, and the whole time, your cells are going, we've got all the nutrients we need, so we could let go of these stored defenses we don't need. So that's really cool. Now, another thing that's different about our transformation is that we address something really important that no other diet does: sleep, inflammation, antioxidants. The tart cherry concentrate that you take at night is a game changer. When you're in deep sleep, your body lets go of excess fat, it rebuilds, it lets go of stress. Everybody know what DHT is, right? In men, it makes us lose our hair. In women, it makes you have a little belly. It's a stress hormone, okay? That stress hormone increases every night you don't get enough rest. And when you start losing weight, you know that a lot of the weight you're losing from your belly has nothing to do with the aminos or the power shakes. It has to do with the tart cherry, because it's getting rid of the hormone DHT, allowing the stress hormone to get rid of. Now, when you're under stress, your body worries that your organs are going to get hurt. So it puts fat right around your organs, okay? Get rid of that stress, get rid of that fat. What other diet is going to do that for you? No. In fact, they give you things that excite your body to where at night you're tossing and turning and you can't sleep. So anyway, the answer to your first question, and a long answer it was, I apologize. What makes us different? Everything. What makes us better? How many people have seen the comparison? Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, right? Do you see how much it costs to lose weight with those programs? over $180 a pound. $180 a pound. Isn't our program like 180 bucks? I mean, for the whole thing? And the average weight loss is 12 pounds. So the last thing I'm going to say on this subject is, not everybody has to lose weight, and not everybody wants to lose weight. Everybody else is ours. Okay? Everybody else is ours. Because if they want to and if they need to lose weight, we have the least expensive, most effective, and best weight loss program in the history of the world.
Awesome. Wow.